Bitcoin is pumping to $106,000, yet your altcoins are still dead. You're probably wondering, why is this happening? Today, I have the exact response for you. I will tell you exactly why your altcoins are not moving up currently. Will they move at all, right? And when, if they will move, they will be moving. And we will also have deep, no BS discussion on HyperLiquid. Should you be entering HyperLiquid currently? What is the upside of the ecosystem out there? Is this a new BNB coin and it's going to $100 billion in market cap at least? Are you actually missing the greatest and easiest play to win this cycle? Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and without further ado, let's start. First of all, we're kicking off with the price of BTC. Just recently we hit $106,000, and before this happened, we actually could have seen that there was a bunch of short liquidity allocated in the range of $105,000, which was kind of obvious to predict that we should be hitting $106,000 because all the short liquidity was taken by the market makers. It pretty much got liquidated and stopped and is evaporated from the marketplace at this stage. Quite a healthy movement, but the real question, where are we going to move next? Former Prime Minister of Thailand says Bitcoin is going to $850,000. Asia is ready. I will share a range of news like this and I will share my opinion on them. I don't think it's all that positive. And you also have to ask yourself a question. Why these people were not making these type of statements 2 years ago when Bitcoin was worth $15,000? The total altcoin market cap is retesting its 2021 high. Back in 2021, almost 4 years ago, it broke its 2017 high and went on to rally another plus 200% that cycle. Imagine something like this happen currently. It's fair to assume that upon breaking the 2021 high this time, price will expand further up as the overall market grows. It's very interesting that we are seeing a range of people bullish on altcoin, Altseason calling for the breakout of total 3, calling for the breakout of Ethereum. It does not show in the price of alts out there. People are very cautious. Funding rates are very neutral at this stage. No one is longing. Everyone is just very cautious despite all of this bullish sentiment at this stage, right? To all these people who are very bullish on the Altseason, I want to ask them, show me your longs. It's good to know that there is many more altcoins in the market now, which will overall dilute the average value of each coin. Makes sense. You have to be very careful with the picks that you are making. We see currently market is very harsh. It's also very efficient. It tends to solve market inefficiencies very nicely, and everything does not go up. Eventually, everything will probably go up, right? But till that time, if you're positioned in proper alts with good fundamentals, with good insights on your end as well, you'll probably be making money the earliest, which means that you'll be able to rotate into other places available on the marketplace, multiplying your capital. And if you're sitting in some place that are not that strong fundamentally, you will probably be the last to experience the pumpage on the marketplace, if at all. Back in 2017, for example, there were only a couple hundred coins which people would generally buy into. Right now, there is tens of thousands. I would argue on this point with the fact that, yes, we do have a lot of coins at this stage, but there is a very small amount of coins, blue chips, that are still worth buying, from my point of view. And here we see this beautiful chart, 2017 all-time high, total altcoin market cap, 2021 all-time high. We are exactly trying to break out currently. It's a big question whether or not we're actually going to print a huge cup and handle here, which means that we'll probably consolidate and stay in this range for quite some time, or if we are breaking out currently. It seems like the market right now is waiting for the FOMC meeting decision and what will be happening with the interest rates out there. The average number of addresses holding less than 1 BTC currently stands at 323,000, with Bitcoin price at $1,100. This growth began when BTC was at $61,000, at which point there were 265K such addresses. Since then, the number of addresses has increased by 22%. Despite being labeled as streams, these holders are showing strong confidence in Bitcoin growth, continuing to accumulate coins even in current price levels. Given the current trend, I expect the number of addresses to rise further, reaching 351,000 in the near future. Why should you care about these statistics? The reason you should care is because last week we were actually discussing that at the current time what is happening, smart money wallets that were holding from 30 to 100 BTC, they are taking profits around these levels. Whales that have more than 100 BTC. They just don't care. They just still keep buying at this stage. And what we're seeing is that shrimps are entering and start to buy BTC as well. So what is happening is essentially smart money are taking profits on shrimps. It's very, very interesting who would essentially be right eventually by the end of this whole thing. I can tell you who will be right. Whales and funds will be right. President Trump says Bitcoin and crypto will skyrocket like never before, even beyond your expectations. Next 4 years are going to be epic. Bitcoin 2024. This is pretty much just a part of the conference that Trump did back at the end of July in the summer, right? Just coming back to his words right here. Trump confirms Bitcoin reserve plans. 15 trillion price, boom predicted. Forbes. Trump confirms Bitcoin reserve plans, right? It's interesting. It's interesting why all these news are being released right now at this stage. It's interesting why they were not being released when you had 15K, 30K, 45K, things like that. And one other thing why you should be cautious is the reaction of the market to this type of news. Imagine how bullish this piece of news actually is. If US will be forming a reserve fund out of BTC, imagine what type of crazy race we will be entering with all the other countries trying to acquire BTC as well. But market is not reacting in a bullish way, in a very, very bullish way on this situation right here. I will share some of my words at the end of the whole review. Katie Wood says Bitcoin is going to $1.5 million, right? She's been saying this for quite some time, almost infinite amount of time at this stage. Just a note from my end. Galaxy Digital CEO says Bitcoin is going to $500,000. Why? While these people, Katie Wood obviously was not silent, but why all these people are not silent at this stage? Think of them like KOLs. Think of them like influencers. And just remember something I was telling you. What is the function of the KOL in the market? Why they're receiving this much money that they are receiving? Because their function is to create exit liquidity. Think of these people just as KOLs, but for retail, for broader market out there. Breaking. BTC breaks $106,000 for the first time in history. We've been seeing this price movement yesterday. 2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at $115,000. Let's liquidate them all. This is the potential speculation on the potential short squeeze that we might be experiencing if Bitcoin is reaching the price of $115,000. On the other end, we have to understand who is shorting BTC currently. These are definitely large amounts of capital as well. So we do have two options. Either smart money and whales are really bearish and think that we would be seeing a short-term correction, and that's why they're longing and that's why they're shorting BTC with all this money, or people are just hedging because they have large exposure into BTC at this stage, and in case of crash, they won't be doing well. That's why they're hedging with these shorts, just to feel themselves alright in both scenarios. Even if the asset goes up or it goes down, they're fine, they're alright, just because they have the hedges with shorts present at liquidations at $115,000. Moving on, BTC is making a new all-time high on neutral funding. I think this is gonna pop hard. Very interesting situation as well. Funding is neutral, which means that we do not have a strong party on the market present, either longing Bitcoin or shorting Bitcoin. It's either people are uncertain, which means that essentially the amount of Bitcoin longs and Bitcoin shorts is around the same, or people are heavily shorting BTC and no one is longing. Quite an interesting situation, if you would ask me. Bitcoin just had the highest daily close in history, something that happened yesterday. Yesterday pretty much have seen new all-time high on Bitcoin. Larry Fink, instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation, Bitcoin can represent an asset that people play as an alternative. Very interesting situation out there. Just a couple more posts and I will share my overview on why they're sharing this type of information currently, why they were selling before, what is the purpose, and what should be coming next. Are we at the generational top and they're just creating liquidity currently to dump on people and they're already in distribution phase? I will share some thoughts from my end. Breaking. At $106,000, Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto is the world's 16th richest person. He just passed Michael Bloomberg. Well, probably Satoshi Nakamoto will be the richest person in the world quite soon, but Bitcoins on his wallet were not moving for quite some time. The speculation is that the keys from the wallets are probably lost at this stage. We'll see. We're definitely sitting in a very, very interesting situation. One of the bearish piece of news that I only was able to find on the marketplace around BTC is from Peter Schiff, who is a long-term opponent of BTC. He's constantly shitting on Bitcoin. This looks like a triple top to me. The chart is even worse if you price Bitcoin in gold. At the minimum, Bitcoin is headed to the upward trend line at about $42,000, but I doubt it will hold. A retest of longer-term support at $15,000 to $20,000 is more likely. Look out below. Crazy price estimations, as if you would think about them. I do think that probably in the bear market we should be seeing like $60,000 to $70,000 as the low, right? And I do think we should have plenty of time to run even higher from these levels. So my thoughts before we essentially go into the discussion of the hyperliquid, which is sucking liquidity out of most of your altcoins out there. We have a lot of bullish news currently. Price is kind of reacting to them, but not in a default way. We definitely do not have like retail massively buying BTC from the marketplace currently. We also don't have buying Ethereum at this stage, because it's also a bit about unit bias. BTC is $100,000. It's kind of expensive to buy at this stage, right? Ethereum is only at 4, so kind of it's probably easier and better to buy it at this stage from a default person point of view. I do think that most likely all of these people who are sharing these crazy price targets on BTC, most likely they entered their distribution phase already. So they're trying to create liquidity for larger funds to be able to take profits on some of the BTC out there. 100% this is happening. Why I do think that it's not the top at this stage from just this point of view is because they need a lot of liquidity to be able to take some profits. They need giant amounts of liquidity, and they also need giant amount of time to do that, because they're not operating with 500K, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, $1 billion. They have much more money in this asset already as well, and they should be working hard on attracting even more liquidity into the whole thing. So I do think that the data that we've seen in shrimps accumulating more and more BTC, they are probably still relatively early. They will probably be in nice profits on the BTC accumulation currently by the end of the cycle. And now, moving on, diving deeper. What is hyperliquid? Why should you care about it? Is this the play that you actually missed already? Or is this the time to actually still get into it? Is this the best play of the cycle at this stage? And why? And what is sucking out liquidity out of your altcoins at this stage? Before we continue with the hyperliquid overview, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. You do not want to miss this type of alpha moving further. You have to constantly be kept up to date with what is happening on the marketplace, and this channel, this place, is the best for this type of purpose. What is hyperliquid? It's a perpetual trading protocol. So essentially it's a centralized exchange, but it's decentralized. It's built on its own blockchain, which is called layer 1, right? It's also EVM compatible, which means that it is actually compatible with Ethereum technological stack, and in a certain way it should be compatible with other blockchains that are made with Ethereum technological stack, like AVAX, for example, right? And the whole idea, the whole bull case for this thing is to actually establish the user experience that is very, very close to centralized exchanges, but to have it on chain, to have it decentralized, which means that people do not have to pass KYC. They cannot feel fear that exchange will close at a certain point of time. They cannot fear that the funds will get freezed, something that we are seeing on Coinbase for a lot of time. And if they want to do some shady operations, like evade some certain taxes, right, they also can just operate on hyperliquid at this stage, right? And I was telling you for quite some time, exchange is the only viable business model in crypto. And I will be sharing you some insights. I will be sharing you some crazy people who are talking about these things. It's very, very interesting is that today in this show, we're talking about two groups of people that are serving as your meme coin KOLs, but for different type of products. One of them are all these people like Larry Fink and the prime ministers of different countries speaking about BTC and its price. Second group of people are crazy whale traders pushing hyperliquid. It's very important to understand who are the people behind the assets, behind the products, and what is the incentive on saying certain things. Very important piece of information moving further. Lower fees than CEX competitors like Binance, OKX, Crypto.com. So incentives on HyperLiquid are quite great because people are receiving airdrops for usage of the platform, right? And there are some other incentives on top of that. So pretty much the more you use the platform, the more you will be able to get native token on the platform in the future, right? As an airdrop. At the same time, the price of the token is also going higher. I will come back to this point a little bit later as well. HyperLiquid has a real chance to attract more users and capital from centralized exchanges because people are kind of tired, and centralized exchanges, they definitely have their own issues that are being solved with HyperLiquid at this stage. HyperLiquid has been dominating the Perpetual DEX space, which is essentially longs and shorts, but not on centralized exchanges, but on decentralized exchanges, capturing over 50% of the volume in the last months. These are crazy stats because this thing just launched. Pretty much you have to understand that the launch of HyperLiquid is just the first test drop of incentives of HyperLiquid. We will be having more of them in the future. This is definitely something that will be happening. And already with the first drop of incentives, it was able to catch 50% of the volume of all decentralized exchanges on chain that are providing services to enter long and shorts for the market participants. Crazy piece of statistics. It just tells you about the market takeover in less than a month by the product. Remember what I told you. The main thing in this market is product market fit. This thing shows product market fit at this stage, and I will tell you the whole plan. I will tell you what I see. I doubt that a lot of people essentially see these things in the marketplace, the ones that I will be sharing with you today. If you feel like all around you everyone keeps talking about hype non-stop and you can't seem to get away from it even if you mute the relevant keywords, well, it's because it's currently compromising 40% of the mindshare between each and every altcoin. We have to understand why. We have to note, like, is it actually worth it, right? Maybe just some fugazi, it's like fake, and it's not something interesting out there. I will tell you a lot about people who are pushing this, why they're pushing this, what is the underlying reasons, and whether or not you actually have upsides currently at this stage, and how to make money even if you won't be buying the token of the HyperLiquid at this stage, which is high. Top 1000 HyperLiquid traders still hold 70% of their high. Very interesting type of statistics because essentially top 1000 traders, they are whales. They were the ones who were able to create the largest volumes on the platform before the TGE event, before the token essentially dropped, right? Which means that smart money, people with a lot of money in the first place, they are holding this thing. I have certain things to share that truly what I do think we're seeing here currently is a coordinated push by the largest traders in crypto out there that probably were advising to this product at a certain stage. They just came up with this type of product and they're just pushing this product as a group at this stage. From one point of view, because they understand that it's good and they've been working on it. From second point of view, just because of the fact that they also hold a bunch of supply out there and they have very huge interest in the coin of this platform going higher. So you can kind of think about it as your group of meme coin influencers who are pushing you meme coin. It's just that this thing is better constructed. It also planned for larger highs because these people, they have tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. They won't be making enough money for themselves if they're just pushing a meme coin, right? They created something they would be able to attract a lot of liquidity on, and they would be able to push very high. And today I will actually prove this to you. Obviously following some speculation, but it's very interesting to understand and clearly see what is happening and who is playing where to be able to take advantage of this marketplace. This is our candidate number one. In all seriousness, the reason why hype is capturing so much mindshare is because none of these worthless vapor chains actually do anything. Return to real products. Believe in something. HyperLiquid. I totally agree with this take. I told you about product market share. At this stage, this is the most important thing in crypto, and the only working business model in crypto is still exchange, trading platforms, right? So they launched something very nice that is attracting volumes, attracting people. It have very nice incentives model, which means that it will probably continue to attract people as well. No VCs were actually included into this product, which also strengthens the case that they did not need money in the first place because they have a lot of money themselves. And Flood, which is a very, like this guy, he's a huge trader on the marketplace. He has a lot of money out there. In his profile, you can see a link to in silico trading. Most of whales out there, they're using this terminal to trade crypto. Most of whales out there. I'm not sure if he's the founder of this thing or not, but this is a very, very interesting coordinated push out there. But it's not like a coordinated push of some non-worthy meme coin out there, right? These people are rich. In order to make money, they need a bunch of liquidity. That's why it's called HyperLiquid. They need to push something very, very high. Let's move on. HyperLiquid burn mechanism. So essentially, they will be burning some of the coins as well. We can see that the first burns have started already. And on this circle, you can see the comparison of the current present circulating supply in the market, right? And all of this is the supply that is not yet present into the market. And following the tokenomics of this thing, what is interesting is that most of this supply would actually go out as incentives to the users. So do you understand what are they building? And do you understand what is happening? They're just creating this giant flywheel of positive thing. And if you would ask, and if you would say, Stan, but it's not sustainable, nothing is happening out of it, I won't agree with you, because exchanges are the most sustainable type of products in this industry. Even in the bear market, when everyone is essentially going down, people are still shorting. People are still playing this market, and they will continue doing so. This is the most stable type of product out there, with the highest possibility of receiving inflows and volumes all the time, right? And all of this model is based on people continuing to trade. And trading is kind of like a gambling for smart people. Will people continue to gamble? 100% they will. It's not happening. It's not going anywhere. Some alpha. Buy every single token of HyperLiquid that exists and forget about it, even if it's just $10 in each. Since sticker auctions are so expensive and only like 256 tokens can be deployed per year, a lot of teams will just CTO dead coins, and therefore some will randomly pull 100x and 10,000x if you are patient enough. Non-financial recommendation, I hold every single token on HyperLiquid. So to explain what is happening and why all of your liquidity from your Solana meme coins and Solana is going into HyperLiquid currently, is something I actually had in my head as well. Developed like type of platform similar to Pump Fun, but instead of just allowing a bunch of coins to launch a day on the marketplace, just limit it. Just have like 1 coin a day, 2 coin a day, which means that all of the liquidity is focused on this coin out there. Imagine this type of platform essentially being in place. And this is exactly something that they've developed on the HyperLiquid platform, with type of coins that you can essentially launch there. Because HyperLiquid is not just the DEX, it's layer 1. As I mentioned, it's a blockchain. They have the product, the DEX, with the options to long and short, right? And they also can launch different coins. People can also launch different meme coins on the chain as well, which is exactly something that is happening. In order to provide you with some type of advice on whether or not you should be buying any coins on HyperLiquid at this stage, from one point of view, it might be a bit late, because I've been checking out these coins myself recently. A lot of them, they did pumped already. This was a genius move at the day of the launch of HyperLiquid. Just seeing all the hype, this was definitely a genius move. Just buy all the coins out there. Currently, the more people are joining, the less upside is there, because they're essentially killing market ineffectivity out there. However, if we continue to pump with the HyperLiquid, these things should also be receiving liquidity. Unfortunately, I do think we might be close to the local top, but despite this, I'm still quite bullish on the long-term upside of this platform. Some price targets that are being shared out there for the HyperLiquid, right? Someone is sharing $25 as a take profit target, which this person pretty much already reached. Crazy if you think about that. Daily average funding rate. This is one pretty important. So I would be explaining this information. This is why whales probably are very interested in this platform. I will explain this to you. It might be a little bit technical, a little bit complex to understand, but it's quite important to understand the market setup and how the market is structured. So essentially, we do have funding rates on each and every exchange, which means that when you try to enter your longs or shorts, you're paying certain percentage on a daily basis to be able to lend this money, which is called funding rate. If people that are opening shorts at the same time, they actually paid to hold these shorts. And some people like whales, what are they doing? They're not even like doing anything in the marketplace. They're not trying to trade. They just put large amounts of money on 1x short alone, and they hedge and they just farm the funding rate. So they just farm this difference, right? There are a bunch of platforms around this thing as well. Whales can actually fund, and depending on the exchange and depending on the coin, whales can actually be farming different levels of this funding rate out there. And what this chart actually shows, let me make sure you actually see it fully. What this chart shows is that daily average funding rate is way higher on HyperLiquid currently, even than on Binance. And don't neglect this difference. This is huge. This is huge in comparison, because it means that all is whale money. Instead of funding rate on Binance, they might be farming the funding rate on HyperLiquid. And I do think this is something that is happening already. And on top of that, they would be able to receive incentives, which they're not getting on Binance currently. There are a bunch of whales in crypto that are not even holding Ethereum, but they still do hold BNB as a collateral asset for the trades out there. This is happening right as we speak. And HyperLiquid, we do see huge focus through each and every piece of the marketing, each and every piece of how they operate on the marketplace, is that they're focusing to be a direct competitor to Binance, which is crazy. And there is definitely a lot of money to be made this way. And that's why this is one of the reasons I told you that people who are behind these things, they're real whales. They really have a lot of money. They're probably liquidity providers for both Binance, all of this exchange, and HyperLiquid as well. And they're just coming into the market to make sure to be able to really make a lot of money, have product market fit, develop something nice, and be farming all these fees for years, which they are very, very successful with already with the launch of HyperLiquid recently. Just for comparison, market cap of HyperLiquid at this stage is $7 billion. Market cap of BNB is $100 billion. It's quite interesting how they entered the market with this type of the product, clearly focusing on the pain points that the current market participants actually have. Since the crash of FTX, everyone is very, very cautious about exchanges. And we had multiple crypto exchanges crashes through the history of crypto thus far. There is a saying, not your keys, not your crypto. Therefore, no one is actually storing large amount of crypto on centralized exchanges. Mostly it's self-custody at this stage, which means that people are just storing the crypto themselves on the wallets, on hot wallets, or on ledgers, on cold wallets out there. This is HyperLiquid Node distribution. HyperLiquid is a decentralized platform, which means it pretty much runs on a network of nodes. The more nodes they have in the network, the more secure the network is. We do see the distribution. It's not the best one, but it's also not the worst one. It's definitely quite stable product out there. A lot of people are actually trusting it at this stage. We do see that there are some nodes in Germany, US, United Kingdom, Japan. Most of them are in Germany, which is quite a nice sign from my point of view. Here's another map of node distribution. We see US, Europe, Germany being the largest, and Japan as well. This is also quite an interesting table I wanted to share. These are the projections for the HyperLiquid coin value. You can see the number 2027. These are all the projections from the best analysts out there, from the craziest people in the industry. Do you see what the top number is? Top number is $13, right? Do you know what the price of the coin is, of the token at this stage? The price of the coin is at $27 at this stage. Huge outperformance. There are reasons for this that they're making themselves, right? You can clearly see they're targeting Binance as the largest business in the industry at this stage, largest consumer-facing business, right? Some that we can see, not B2B. We can see that they essentially offer a bunch of things that Binance offer as well. However, HyperLiquid is full on-chain, right? Which means that it's quite secure. It cannot be stopped until all the nodes are stopped for some reason, but it cannot be happening. Composable order book, Binance doesn't have it. Self-custodied funds, and funds are custodied by Binance Exchange in case of Binance, obviously. So you can be secure with HyperLiquid. You pretty much just connect your wallet and you do the things you want, right? With Binance, you have to sign up, you have to KYC, you have to make sure it won't like sometimes the funds are getting freezed, crazy. Permissioned spot listing. This is quite an evolution as well, because On Binance, you pretty much as a project, you have to process, you have to go through a certain process, you have to have a company, you have to sign a bunch of docs, you have to pay a bunch of money as well. On HyperLiquid, this is essentially made a decentralized way. From one point of view, it makes that anyone can be listed on HyperLiquid following certain criteria, right? From other point of view, it's quite safe and it's quite nice as well, and it definitely attracts more projects to be present on this platform as well, especially with the amount of trading volumes out there. Imagine this thing will flip Binance in volumes. A long way till we will be seeing something like that, right? Because this game is also kind of about long term. They might be attracting a bunch of liquidity currently, a bunch of traders out there, but Binance was building its client base for years, right? And you cannot, like, even if you have best product in the universe, which HyperLiquid kind of have, right? It will still take quite some time to be able to overcome the amount of clients and the amount of volumes that Binance is doing at this stage. But still, imagine when in the near future, everyone won't be focusing on like, oh, like this thing is getting listed on Binance and things like that. It will be just be listed on HyperLiquid, right? This would be just the main list out there. And it's also a seamless, straightforward, easy process to be able to list your coin right there at that stage because it's decentralized. No one is controlling the process. It's decentralized in the first place, as it should be. HyperLiquid Exchange managed to maintain its market share, capturing 1 to 1.7% of total volume relative to Binance, Bybit, OKX, and Kraken, even after the incentives phase dropped. This is the main risk post-TG and incentives for airdrops, but numbers still look good when in May points were paused. So here essentially what does it say is that even after the launch, the TG event, people that were farming the airdrop, they removed their funds, but still there are volumes. Still there are things happening. Still the price of the coin is going higher. Currently, I would say is more about capturing market share from these exchanges, capturing market share from the DEXs, although it already did capture market share from most of the DEXs out there and just growing, right? Having incentives in place. You do not have these type of incentives on centralized exchanges. And centralized exchanges, they cannot provide this type of incentive in this stage. So imagine someone lost $20,000 leveraged login on HyperLiquid back in, I don't know, in July, right? He got liquidated. Currently, he probably received around $50,000 from that. And the reason these type of platforms can be doing these type of things is because they understand that most of this money is coming back to them, especially if they're providing liquidity themselves for these trades. And giving people free money, it's the best type of marketing. This is the reason why this token is going up. This is the reason the mind share is actually at the highest at this stage. So we're coming to the conclusion of HyperLiquid situation. I want to sum up the whole situation so you would understand this. I needed to compare to a default meme coin push by default poor meme coin influencers. What are they doing? They don't want to be making like $5 million, $10 million out of meme coin. They want to double on the followers for 50, 100, 150k and be done with it. It's very, very nice. It's like 150k in 3 to 4 days. They will take it any day, right? They create a meme coin. They essentially create a coordinated background push around this meme coin, and they just push it hard, and then they sell the whole thing. Meme coin does not have any intrinsic value. It does not do anything. That's why it's very, very hard for people to attract any type of value to the meme coin, right? And eventually after initial dumps, it's often just dumps to zero, right? We, for example, have in comparison the case of BTC currently. And all these people like Larry think they're KOLs in the real world. They have power out there, which is influence, which means that they are literally influencers. And what they're doing currently, they're pushing the price of BTC. HyperLiquid case is quite similar. It's just that the size of the operation is much larger here. And it's not 100% directed to be bad, like for people out there. They're definitely looking to add value into the marketplace, solve certain inefficiencies in the marketplace. Like, for example, centralized exchanges making too much money because they don't have competition from the decentralized exchanges that actually can be better, right? And by solving this inefficiency and by adding more value into the marketplace, they do understand that they will be able to make even more money because the market cap of the product will get appreciated heavily. And in terms of some tops, in terms of some top projections from HyperLiquid, we have to understand it's not a DEX. It's not like DYDX that is maybe like capped at $3 to $5 billion. It's actually a layer 1. Layer 1's estimates, they can go as high as $50 billion, as high as $100 billion. And the main thing for layer 1 estimates to actually grow is trading volume on the chain. Why Solana went to $120 billion market cap? Because everyone was and is trading Solana meme coins, attracting a bunch of volume into the chain. This is something that is happening. And I would even tell and add this. I do think that the current focus from HyperLiquid is obviously to attract as much crypto natives as they only can at this stage. You do not see them marketing much to retail, to outside people. They do understand it's not the time for them to do that. Right now, I do think they will be focusing on attracting more and more capital from crypto natives out there. And once the market share that they will acquire will be larger, they will start to market to retail. Binance is still the best one out there from the point of view of marketing to retail. However, if you think about largest volumes, if you think about whales, if you think about largest amounts of funds that are being traded on these type of platforms, is retail actually trading this largest amount of volumes, or are these native crypto and TradeFi whales? I would say the latter. And this is where the focus of HyperLiquid at this stage, because this is the users group they will be making the most money on, allowing for this mechanism to actually go on. So how I'm seeing this is the product developed and supported by a group of whales, liquidity providers, people who have tens and hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto, with the whole goal to aim at flipping of Binance out there, developing a better product, having some coins, providing liquidity for these things, and flipping and acquiring the market share of this current market cap that is present. The market share of all this money that decentralized exchanges are essentially making at this stage. The whole finalization, would I advise at this stage to buy into the HyperLiquid coin and HyperLiquid meme coins on the chain out there? I would advise to experience certain caution. I would advise to be careful. We're definitely top of the mind share in crypto. We might be at the top of the wave 1. Definitely had a very, very successful launch out there. I do think short term we might be correcting from these levels just because of the fact we're just going up non-stop. Up only, and up only. With all the meme coins around HyperLiquid, I would say you also have to be careful, because as soon as market share is actually going to flip, these coins are not going to do well as well, because people will see this, people understand this, and they will start to take profits on this thing as well. Thank you very much for staying with me and watching this video till the end. Please make sure to press the like button and subscribe to this channel. This way more people will be seeing these videos and we'll be able to provide more value to more people in this marketplace. Thank you very much for watching again. Stay healthy and rich. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.